Well, good evening, everyone. I bet you didn't expect to see me or hear from me once again, but my goodness gracious, it seems like the apocalypse is here. We got just so many crazy things happening all over the world. We have new things that are now being revealed that actually started my channel. Hello, everyone. I'm Jacob Israel. Welcome. I'm very excited to talk to all of you because I feel like it's just this is just epic. The stuff that's going on. My channel started, really kind of blew up over this thing called Nibiru and this planet called Planet 9. There's new evidence about that. We're going to get into it on today's show. But there's so many other things that we need to discuss first. Tick-tock, tick-tock. There's an issue with the clock. Something going on at Big Ben. Something going on with that social media site. Trending at number 3. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Like time. It's running out. That's what it feels like. That's what everybody's saying. That's what everybody's feeling and vibing. The cicadas are about to just make life very, very annoying and very, very loud for the people in the areas. They're already starting to emerge. Weird things happening. Blood-stained horse. One of the royal horses. Trotting on down. Weird things happening. So, how could I wait until tomorrow? I had to, work very hard to get all this together. Check out that crazy thumbnail. Probably could have been a little more, made a little bit more sense, but you get the point. We have some crazy things to talk about. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Time, is it a running out? We're going to find out. But I'll tell you one thing. Time ran out for Big Ben. Who heard about this? Somebody at Jacob me. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But somebody at Jacob me about this when I was talking about the horses, and they said, Jacob, this is weird. They didn't really say that, but that's what I'm assuming that that's what's happened. I see Marfugel's in the house right now. Hang on a second. Adam, I see you're in the house, and I was trying to text you. I wanted to call you on today's show. I don't know. He's probably, if you don't know who Marfugel is, Marfugel TV, him and Dex, Adam, they're just the best guys ever. They have just the coolest show. You let me know in the live chat, Marf. I'll give you a ring. I would love to hear his 2 cents on all of this, especially towards the end of the show. With Big Ben, the clock stopped at what time? Take a wild guess, everybody. Yeah, that's right. That's right, at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Strange. Not a normal thing, not a normal occurrence. Just 2 years prior, Big Ben got it like an upgrade because the time wasn't keeping time with the times. So they had to give it an upgrade. And, Lauren Sawyer, she knows. Thank you for the super chat, Lauren. Things today, the times and the seasons, they're speeding up. They talk about this in scripture too, where things are going to be sped up. If not for things going quickly, it may be a problem for the elect's sake, those that God has in place to do these wonderful things like, get people to love and forgive and come together and make a new world where there's no more hate and there's a lot more peace. That's what I'm looking forward to. But sometimes you need cataclysmic change. You need what they call like a reset. And it seems like Big Ben had a reset. It was weird about Big Ben. I had a dream about Big Ben. It was whatever. I don't know why. And if you look to the right of the screen, I actually, after that, I was on the lookout for Big Ben stuff. And then they posted this stuff. You'll see it. Let me enlarge it over there for you. It's a chant that really is not good. They're doing this right now on college campuses, especially in New York. They're chanting this terrible thing, which is basically calling for the elimination of a people. We don't want that. But Big Ben, for whatever reason, had that projected on their, on the side of the big clock. That's not that great, It's not that great at all. So I said, hey kids, look, it's Big Ben. Yeah, from, you remember that movie, right? Who remembers that movie? Tell me, with Chevy Chase, they kept going around. Hey, look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament, Big Ben, Parliament. Something going on. There's something going on, and it's freaky. It's freaky that that this happened when it happened. And what's freakier is after it happened, the hourly strikes of the bells that were supposed to, they were paused. They were supposed to resume at midday. Well, they too reportedly malfunctioned. And what did they perform? Take a wild guess. 11 chimes. You heard that right. 11 chimes. So that would be the clock at 9 o'clock ends, stops working. And then when it comes back online, you're telling me there are 11 chimes? So you got 9/11 going on with Big Ben, the most iconic clock ever. Shut down. Just stopped. Just stopped. You know what else is weird? This news broke. At the same time, there was like a bloody horse galloping on down. Midday. These horses, they were just on the loose. Man, I got to tell you, that really warmed the cuckolds of my heart. I couldn't wait to like tear all those pictures and videos apart, and I was coming up with all sorts of weird things. I was like, there's a guy in a moped. He has like a yellow outfit on. It's very strange. It looks like a hazmat suit. What's going on with that? And why is he so calm? You got a blood-soaked white horse going by, and you got another horse going by. It was freaky. It was freaky that the footage led you to this restaurant, this fast food pickup restaurant. They're like all over the place. They're called Pret-a-Manger or Pret-a-Manger in French. Pret-a-Manger. I guess, I don't know. How do you know how to pronounce things in French? I don't. But I see that, and it means like, ready to eat, ready to go. But I see it as, it's, the manger. Jesus, right? The manger is where the baby Jesus was placed because there was no room for the baby Jesus, the baby Yahshua. There was no room for Yahshua in the inn. It's like there's no room for Christ in our hearts today for love. Sad day. Sad day. Jesus said that. The disciples are like, where do you live, Jesus? Yahshua, where do you live? For those people that know that Jesus isn't his literal name. And he's like, foxes have holes. Birds have nests. Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Who today is really seeking the things of God? Who today is living like, they must be a righteous person. When you got tick-tock on the clock, and the clock is stopping, and you got 9, you got 11. Who here is saying, maybe it's time to do a little praying. Maybe it's time to work on that family, spend a little more time with your wife or your husband. Be a little more patient with your children. Make up with those loved ones that maybe, you had a couple of issues with. Don't let politics and all that stuff come between you. Today's the day. Tick-tock, tick-tock. There's a problem with TikTok right now. And we got a lot of problems going on when you got horses running wild. 4 people were put in the hospital after this household cavalry horses. They went on a rampage, but take a wild guess how long that rampage was. 6 miles. 6 miles. Take a look. They were like all over the place. They were all over the place. It was weird. And by the way, if you look to the right of the screen there, that guy that was dressed in yellow, he had a little GoPro on his head, and he was wearing a weird black mask. Snap a picture of that and blow that up. Freaky. Weird. Like, what's that dude? He's like prime position for, to catch. I hope his GoPro was running. You got a lot of great footage of that. They had a lot of actual people that were standing on the sidelines when these horses were running by. I'm assuming the reason that happened is because it's probably like a touristy place, maybe, where they're not getting stabbed by people. That's happening. There's like crazy crime happening everywhere right now. England is not exactly exempt. And by the way, the UK, just so you know, because they know stuff is going down. When Big Ben stops at 9 and then it chimes 11, what's his name? Rishi Sunak. The guy's the prime minister. Rishi's like, we're going to spend more money than ever before on our defense budget. We're going to get on a war footing. That's going on right now. That make you feel good? Does that make you feel good? Seeing a bloody horse running down in London? It's freaky. London rampage, they had like soldiers, they were thrown. And these soldiers, they dress sharp, man. They dress sharp. Let me see if I have a picture of them. There's the horse. Oh God, this poor horse. You know those soldiers, they ride the horses with like swords. So, you know, maybe somebody got stabbed, something happened, you know, something bad. You don't like to see, you know, any animal being mistreated. Horses they are such a symbol in scripture. The saints of God are horses. Yeah, horses are a big deal. God says that they're, you know, strong and powerful. In the book of Job, it speaks of horses being set free and who can tame them. Who can tame these horses? And there were 7 of them. 7 is that complete number. It's a beautiful number. Well, the household cavalry, if you want to know, it's a corp. You know, these is like the Royal Guard, basically. The 2 most senior regiments of the British military. They're called the Life Guards, the Blues, and they are called the Royals, which, you know, if you're guarding the Royals, you probably name your troop the Royals. I mean, that's probably just kind of goes hand in hand. There you got King Charles there. You know, what's interesting is King Charles the 111, the third. It was King Charles II that actually created this cavalry. Now the cavalry's loose. What's happening with that? It's freaky. Freaky times. Freaky things are going down. Reminded me of a little bit of a story because a lot of people want to see these events and they want to see these things and they want to think the worst. You're like, look who's talking, Jacob, right? You tell me in a live chat. Who am I kidding, right? Who am I kidding? The horses run down and I'm snapping pictures and I'm going, this guy's got a hazmat suit on. Where's my head? I'll tell you where my head is. It's in the game, baby. You know, we're just speculating here. We're having some fun. So is this bad luck, this thing with the horses? Is it good luck? There's this proverb that Alan Watts made famous. It's the Chinese farmer. Since we're going to be talking about China, I think it's appropriate. And once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all the neighbors came around to commiserate. That means talk, people. They said, we're sorry to hear about your horse, that he's run away. This is so unfortunate. The farmer said, maybe. The next day, the horse came back, bringing 7 wild horses with it. You see why I brought up this parable. The wild horse, 7 wild horses. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? The power of perception, my friends. Faith creates. What do you want to see? Do you want to see, the apocalypse in a negative way? Or do you want to see the apocalypse the way it's meant to be known? The revelation of Christ. Where you come in here with power. And it's a beautiful thing. So he goes, maybe he brought back 7 wild horses. Maybe that's a good thing. Following day, his son tried to ride one of those 7 horses, and while riding, he was thrown and he broke his leg. The neighbors then said, oh dear, that's so bad. And the farmer responded, maybe. The next day, the conscription officer came around to conscript people into the army. And they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. Again, the neighbors came around and they said, wow, isn't that great? Again, the farmer said, maybe. You see, here's the deal, people. We don't know. I talked on my last show. I don't even know if you saw my last live. I hope that you go back and you watch. If you haven't been notified, I'm on my wife's computer here looking at you all. I had to go looking for myself. My wife loves this show. She's probably watching right now on her phone. She's watching Netflix. I got to be honest. She's watching. She knows she can get her shows in when I'm doing this. But she does watch. And she loves this. She loves all of you. I love the Dan. She's my best bud. But are these things that we see, are these bad? Or are they good? Maybe. I want you to tell me in the comment section. Because while all this is happening, we also have what? Greece? Greece is, the sky's turned like orange. And we got the cicadas. We got the cicadas coming out like never before. It's very strange. We're talking there's going to be billions with a capital B. Like a Biden. We're Biden our time. We're biding our time. Who saw Biden today saying pause? 4 more years. Pause. I got that pulled up for later. It's funny. People are, they're not going to be too happy when the sound of what sounds like an alien invasion takes over. Sounds a little bit like lawnmowers, according to CNN. I don't know. I've heard them. I don't think they sound like lawnmowers. I do find them to be a little off-putting. You know, these cicadas, it's the two groups. We talked about this for how long? Group 13, Group 17. It's 13 years, 17 years in the ground. They're coming up at the same exact time. It's historic. Last time this happened, if you remember correctly, was around 1776. Remember we talked about 1776? And we're in that moment. You may not see it, but there's like a battle going on behind the scenes. There's all like secret societies and secret sects, and they're all battling each other, and they're trying to. What they're really doing is they're being shuffled around because God's ultimately in charge of all this, which is what my perception is. But I'll still say maybe. I'm going to leave that up to you. Are the cicadas blooming? Is this a good thing? Back in 1776 or so, back in the 1800s, when, they came on over and they experienced that time, they were so freaked out by the whole thing, they thought it was a biblical plague. They thought that revelation was happening at that moment. They called the cicadas the locusts of the bottomless pit. One could say that the historic locusts of the bottomless pit are emerging right now. Is anybody going to pray with me? Is anybody going to love with me? Is anybody going to get fired up about how amazing this day that we are in is? Man, is it happening? Let's take a look at the cicadas. Let's see them popping on out. Let's take a look over here. I don't even know if I have the cicadas here. Oh, that's a bummer. I do have the horses running, though. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. That was freaky. And there's the hazmat guy. It's not a hazmat. But I mean, that is some perfect time. And if you look in the center of his helmet, there is a GoPro right there. And those horses. And then there we see bus 87 and bus 15, which, people that are into the numbers are going to tell me that's something. I think it's pretty cool. You got 16 and 15 next to each other. Is that the books of Revelation? Who knows? But you look at this horse. I mean, man, are they majestic? All bloody and nonsense. I mean, this is weird. But look at how many cameramen you got. You got a cameraman here. You got a cameraman here. You got a cameraman here with a camera and another camera strap. How many camera straps they got? How many camera straps? How many people with the cameras? I mean, I guess I would take a picture too, but how many, when you're walking down the street, do you usually see that many people with like really nice? I mean, I find it interesting. And then you go all the way to the end, and that's when I saw the manger, Pret-a-Manger. And I thought to myself, wow, that's interesting. There's no people over there with the cameras. And this is where they part. This is where they part ways. That was a really, really strange thing to wake up to this morning. Almost as strange as hearing our president. Let's play this now, shall we? 11 seconds, my favorite number.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years.
Let's do that again. Let's do that again.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause.
4 more years.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Pause, baby. You know what's really funny? Yeah, hopefully this, this can, it looks like my computer is a little bit frozen right now. So I'm going to keep talking as we're looking at the old president here, and hopefully I can escape out of this. Don't you love it when this stuff happens? There we go. Okay, good. We're back, baby. We're back. We're back. I got the inspirational music playing. It's a good day. It's a good day. These cicadas emerging now. They were like all over. If you want, go to my X page. It's at Jacob Israel 71 on X. And you'll see it was like all over a lawnmower and like a barbecue, which I thought was pretty cool. Barbecue, because we got the stuff going on right now in Haiti with barbecue saying it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. But, we've been asking for a pause, right? That was like my big push the last couple of weeks, was it not? Tell me in the live chat. We got like 1,000 people here already. I haven't even asked everybody to really hit the like. Will you do me a favor? If you're in a live chat right now, or if you're watching right now, take a second. Just go, X out, and then just go and just click that little like. If you want, leave a little comment. Say, hey, Jacob, I did it for you. So that I can say thank you very much. And hopefully I'll be able to see it, because I do go to the comment section. It's weird. The sky's turned that freaky, crazy color again, which is something that I experienced firsthand. Do you remember when the that U-Haul crashed into the White House fence? And on the side of the U-Haul, you had Nova Scotia, and you had like a ship that was on fire. And I said, I bet you there are going to be fires in Nova Scotia, right? Remember that? That was cool. And then fires in Nova Scotia. Well, I experienced the smoke from those fires. So did Canada. It was scary. It was gross. I actually went so far as to buy a bunch of like really good quality masks. So if there is ever something like that again, and we got to walk around, and I even got, I spent like a couple of $100 on this. It freaked me out a lot. But Truth Seeker, he's got a cool YouTube channel. Check him out. He connected from New York to Greece. It was 322 days. 322 days. That's the Skull and Bones, the Order of the Brotherhood of Death. That's some spooky stuff. Spookier still, I covered the orange skies back in 2018 when this first happened in a show I did about Nibiru, Planet X, Planet 9, because there are some people who are like, oh, it's iron oxide. It's actually from space. Like rust particles coming in, because Planet 9, otherwise known as Nibiru, is, making its way and whatever. That's what some people were saying back then. But I did a little bit of the dates between calendar, and go figure, 2,222 days from when that happened. I think that's pretty interesting. But the Athens sky turned orange. Libya, orange. Spooky orange. Spooky orange. You would think you go outside. You've never experienced that in your life. I never had to walk outside. I did like a YouTube short. It did very well. It's probably one of my best YouTube shorts, where I just walked outside, and it was gross. Didn't feel right. And it was on 6/6, like 2023, which is like 666. If you think about it, freaky, freaky stuff going down. But is that a bad thing? Or is that a good thing? Maybe. You see where I'm going with this? 7 horses may be an important thing. Planet 9 is now said to be lurking behind Neptune. Oh, go figure. Oh, really? We knew this. When my channel took off because of a weird dream that I had, I didn't want to talk about Nibiru and the Anunnaki. I didn't want to talk about any of that stuff. I was like a serious theologian who had a novel coming out back then. Blew it off. Had so many times God was like, you got to do this, you got to do this. And what I mean by that is like I knew I had enough confirmation that I should talk about it. I finally listened after a terrible nightmare. And in this nightmare, it was pretty scary. It was like meteors bombarding the earth. But I felt like if I did that video, because at that nightmare, I said, well, maybe it's like a Jonah thing. Jonah didn't want to tell people about a planet named Nibiru or aliens. He didn't want to tell people that like martial law was coming and crazy flooding. And like, these are things that I've been talking about since 2015. In my essay where I talk about this dream, A Warning Ignored, there's like a list of it. And let me tell you something. Check. I just didn't have like the cicadas and the bloody horses. This is the day we're in. So I find it interesting that Konstantin Bakin, he's a professor. I think I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's UCLA. I don't know where it is. I back in the day when I talked about this all the time, a Caltech. Say, I remember, I recalled it. I recall. I didn't even need one of Elon's implants to recall, and I recalled it myself. Well, Bakken and Brown, they were, they popularized this. So like when I was saying someday they're going to tell everybody that there is a planet like this, when I was telling everybody that someday they're going to say it really exists, because on NASA's site, they're like, there is no Planet X. There is no such thing. It's a bunch of baloney. They didn't use that word because they're not Italian. If they were Italian, they might have said that. But they retracted that statement, even though that video is still there. Go figure. And now they're even talking about the existence of this planet. It's weird. Supposedly it comes around every, 70,000 years or something. There's so many different ideas. Or 200,000 years or something. I don't know what the ins and the outs of this are. I think, this article says 10,000 to 20,000 Earth years to complete its orbit. And after like 20,000 years, supposedly there's like a cataclysm. Now, why would that be the case? Because it's beyond Neptune. People are like, well, how is that a big problem? Well, I mean, it's coming a little bit closer. It's near the Oort cloud, which is like, it's not the asteroid belt, but it's like out there, icy comets and everything else, and it bumps stuff around, just pushes it in that direction. Next thing you know, all that stuff's coming. And then we have all of these surprise comets and all of these surprise near-Earth asteroids. Oumuamua, the scout from afar. Some people say it was alien. Some people say it's not. Now they're saying it's always something that has gas. I think now it's like an asteroid that farts. I think that's their latest. Speaking of fart jokes, Planet 9 is the size of Uranus, people. And you know that Uranus is a planet, and if you want to support the channel and you want to get yourself the merch, you go to the description of the video. And you can, and it helps me. I get like bucks, like $3, $4 or something. And it's a great little cup. It makes people cheery in the morning. And I have to slurp away because my throat starts to hurt from talking. Marf knows about this. I'm going to call him so he could talk a little bit. I'm going to call him in a second. I hope he answers. He's such a nice guy. If you don't watch him and follow him in Dex, you really should. They are like, I can say bad stuff about other channels and I'd be like, I like them, but this. There are other channels that I associate with that I don't think are even that great, You know the ones that I care about and I like because I talk about them a lot. Check him out. He's a good dude. He really is, and he got great stuff, and we've collaborated before. A lot of times we talk about stuff, and then boom, here it is. So Planet 9 being a thing and being the size of Uranus, which for those that don't know, this was a joke on the channel because back in the day when this is my first merch. This is like historic. This is Jacob's Ladder history here. The first time I finally got around to doing merch because people like, you should do it because it'll, people want to help. I was always like, I cannot do that until I needed to. But so I wanted to make it fun. But Uranus, I didn't know because when I was talking about Planet 9, Planet X and Nibiru and all that stuff back in the day, in the tablets and all of these things that like Rex Bear, he's another great guy that Rex Bear could be able to tell you all about. I should have him on soon. And I found out, because Uranus was hit, something, out there when it was coming around again, jostled stuff around, smacked Uranus in the behind. This is the story. This is how it goes. And I used to laugh trying to tell people, and now it's like locked in place. So it doesn't like rotate around like some of the other planets. And so, but what was interesting is I'd laugh every time I would say Uranus. And so that's why I came up with this. I didn't know that Uranus is the Greek word for heaven. That planet symbolizes God. It's the Sky Father. Uranus is, when you see the word heaven in the Bible, you read about the kingdom of heaven. It's the kingdom of Uranus. That's wild stuff. So the fact that Planet 9 could be the size of Uranus and Big Ben stops at 9 a.m., it tells you something. What does it tell you? Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. We're going to have to find out. But there's this new strong statistical evidence that proves that it's a thing. And so that gets me thinking, maybe this whole thing from when I began talking about Planet 9 and all that stuff, like maybe this is what all this stuff was about. Maybe it's about trying to get people to, trying to get them in like certain areas. Maybe that's what the 15-minute city's for. Like we all think that it's a bad thing, but they think something's coming, so they're trying to get everybody in different locations. I don't think that that's the case. There was a time that I was a little worried about that. I will say, worried about the Devil Comet. The Devil Comet, because I don't know if you know this, but it's supposed to be coming back around, size of Mount Everest. Now, we know that the Devil Comet was interesting because, of course, its connection to the eclipse and the timing of it. Well, it just reached perihelion. But this is really freaky. It had its tail ripped off by a plasma burst through the sun. So something happened to it that wasn't supposed to happen. It was unexpected. It got smacked with something which just devastated the tail. It was heading towards Jupiter, it seemed, which is interesting symbolism, this being called the devil planet and all. And the sun smacked it back, blasted by a gigantic plasma wave from the sun, temporarily blowing away its dusty tail. Now, this is what's weird. What does that mean for this comet, which was already exploding because it's like a volcano and it erupts? What does now that it was, what does that do to their, I'm sure they have this thing mapped and this thing, we statistically think this is what's going to happen. They're back to the drawing board with all this. Is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? Now, I'm going to tell you that I want it to be a good thing. I'm going to tell you that dream that I had with all those meteors and everything else, and I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a former mattress salesman. I've had some interesting things in my career where I've written for television. Sure. I was the head writer for the largest Christian network. I count it as dung. I was the head writer for WWE. I count it as dung. None of it matters. I sold mattresses, and I'm proud of that. I loved helping people find a good night's sleep. And I miss it. But how can I help people find sleep when I think people need to wake up? So I'm glad that all of you are here because it's an important thing. So this crazy solar flare, for whatever it did something. And I'm wondering if perhaps maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it was unexpected because I've been praying. I'm like, Lord, give us some more time. That eclipse hit Nineveh, right? Everybody talked about it. It really was only 100% totality in one place. It was also in a place called Jacob, by the way, which I found interesting, like smack dab in the middle. I thought it was very cool. But Nineveh being a symbol of what God did. God repented of destroying utterly, with probably meteors and fragments of a comet and possibly another planet coming around. Spared them. Maybe that plasma burst, maybe the sun. Maybe this is the way I want to think. I try to share that with all of you. Hey, who wants to call Marf? Let's see if we can get him on the phone. He's such a nice guy. He's probably getting ready for his show too. I don't also.
The service you're attempting to use has been restricted.
Okay. All right. That's not the one. Give me a second, everybody. I always I have a couple of different numbers. That was his old one. Okay, I got him here. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see. You see, it says Adam Marfugel. This is a big deal. To get him on. Like, let me see if I can. Any second. Who feels the who's feels the anticipation? It's building. Hey, we got you. We got you.
Hey, it's cool you're talking about the Devil Comet. I don't know if you knew this, but it changed names like twice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The first name was the Millennial Falcon because now this was weird because when it was called the Millennial Falcon was when that devil that was trapped in the Japanese killing stone opened up. So there was this stone and it opened up and it had the idea that there was like the devil was in there for 1,000 years called the Nine-Tailed Fox, but it opened up after 1,000 years. So we had this millennial, which is 1,000 years, the Millennial Falcon, which I thought was just so cool. And then the fact that they would change it to the Devil Comet, crazy, you know?
And it's like the 12P Brooks or the Pawn Brooks or whatever.
Right.
I thought they changed it even again, but it was really weird when they changed it to the Devil. But you were also talking about a Muamua.
Right.
People forget that comet or whatever it was came in, and if you look at the 3D map of like what it did, it went near Earth or cosmically close, and then sped up on its way out.
I know,
and
it's
nobody
weird.
could explain that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they named it
Scout.
yeah, right. They name it Scout arriving first from afar. That was like their first definition of that. It's like, okay, this isn't a little bit sus. And it was an interstellar traveler. So this is like something we'd never ever seen. And then like a couple of months later, we had another one too. You know? I mean, Adam, what do you think? Like when you see all this stuff going on, what is really standing out the most to you? You know, what do you think about this TikTok thing, man? Without saying this, you know, the C word.
Well, I mean, like with well, TikTok is, I think it is a weapon. I mean, the thing, if you look at what the ByteDance algorithm is, I mean, like, it's crazy.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, everybody says that the U.S. gov can't control it. So if they can't control it, they don't want it out there, you know, having, I don't know. I honestly think after, you know, watching it myself, I feel like almost everything on there is handcrafted by this algorithm, which they've set the parameters, and it's training people to think a certain way.
Yeah.
Our world has changed in the last like 5 or 6 years on subjects that never would have changed. And
crazy,
you know, now people are kind of afraid to talk about the changes that are happening, and it's supposed to be progressive, but it's like stuff that really just hasn't changed in forever. And people wonder why everything is changing. It's the youth. If you change the next generation, then everything's going to change.
Yeah.
If this is how people think going forward, then that's how the world's going to be.
And we see what's happening at the universities right now. You talk about the youth, and I saw videos today where they were asking, why are you protesting NYU? And the girl was like, I don't really know. And then asked the next person, like, what did NYU do? And they're like, well, I don't know either. Nobody knows. They're just being pointed in a direction, and they're being told, be outrageous, be outraged, and then here it is. You're right. And I got to tell you, probably TikTok probably was behind that too. I wouldn't doubt. Maybe, you know, that gets word out of what's happening, because I was.
Well, did NYU
Columbia
go against the country?
I don't know.
Did they do something specifically against?
They didn't know
cause?
either. No, I don't think so. They didn't either. They didn't think that either.
So why are they destroying stuff there? Like,
I don't know.
You know?
I think that you could probably maybe try to rationalize it and say, we don't care, we're students, we just want the whole world to hear us. But you know what? I don't even want to talk about that, because it's like, I feel like if anything, that's going to be shut down. You know, I mean, it's very clear that people don't know how to behave. So what has to happen? You know, it seems like there's going to be a little bit of a heavy hand coming our way. Do you see that coming? Or do you think it's going to be more loosey-goosey?
Oh no! I mean, they're already doing it. They're going to bring in the National Guard and then close it down. What I suggested is that if they brought the National Guard in and something happened, or if at one of these big gatherings something massive happened, have you seen the movie Civil War yet?
No, I really don't want to either, because I heard it was really bad.
It was bad, but there was a scene in the beginning that looked identical to what is going on right now with all of this stuff. The pictures from yesterday from some of the colleges
Yeah.
looked like one of the beginning scenes from that movie where an explosive goes off next to the photographers, and luckily the one, Kirsten Dunst, saves the other girl behind a car. But it was even in the scene, you see all these people wearing face coverings and they're chanting, and then boom, something goes off. And it was like something like that happens, and then if it's blamed on the other side, whatever the other side is, then all of a sudden think about what one man, perishing by the hands of police did. Think about, 30, 40, 100 people perishing because of some guy, and then they end up bringing out a manifesto or something of something.
We're gonna rebuke that. I'm not gonna see these trends. That's the thing. It's like, one of the things that I do here, and this because we talk about this stuff, is that when I see stuff like this, it's like you get this knee-jerk feeling like, okay, now this is telling other people. Like, I even had an argument with one of my relatives over this, who thought that this was like an amazingly heroic thing that this guy did. I don't even want to talk about it anymore because it's so obvious to me that this is getting deeply rooted into people's psyche, and that people today are becoming mental. And, it's like, there is some serious, programming going on, and I want to see things differently. So
you're like you said, we don't see videos of a 30-year-old Chad hitting a 30-year-old Steve. We're not seeing those. We're seeing a 16-year-old punch a grandma. We're seeing this color punch that color, this religion punch that religion, and this side punch that side.
Yeah,
it's everything, and that's the algorithms doing.
I know.
All of the algorithms are purposely showing us this stuff to put this in the back of our mind. The Civil War movies, the Leave the Worlds Behind. Yeah.
And isn't that funny? Speaking of the Leave the World Behind, it's the opening scene with that shipping container, which, by the way, Adam and I talked about how we thought shipping container ships were going to be an issue because they were on the cover of that magazine. We talked about it, and it's just so wild to see all the shipping container issues and the bridges and all the stuff that's going bonkers. But that's like the opening scene, and then here it happens. This is once again, are these good things or are these bad things? So what I've been like actively doing, it's a little silly, is that I've been using my faith to say these things are going to backfire. Like, say something terrible was coming in. Well, then, this devil comet swinging around, there's a problem with it because it already burst open, and it's already like, it was speeding up like you wouldn't believe. It's not acting normal. And then now the sun's hitting its tail, whacking it off course again. Maybe this is a good thing. This horse that breaks free, maybe it's a good thing. Big Ben stopping. Okay, this is it. We need a pause. Biden saying pause. This is what I'm trying to envision. Once again, do I believe it's going to happen? I do. I don't know, but
the 4 years more or 4 more years pause.
Oh, that's crazy.
He's obviously reading the teleprompter.
Yes,
right?
Yes, of course.
It's pretty funny.
It is so funny.
Thing, Jacob, we've talked about this. My thoughts, and I've said this. Like, I think that the Sunspot Observatory, how the Space Force came into play after a secret meeting, how they did a Cobra meeting, they did all this crazy stuff. It's like I think that there's something going on in space.
For those of you that don't know, this is an observatory that Adam's talking about was the one that was shut down a couple of years back when we had that red sky in over in Russia, and the slopes in Russia were red too. Right around the same time, that's when that observatory went down, and it was weird with those Black Hawk helicopters, So, maybe you're right.
Why do they need Black Hawk helicopters for one guy who's
right.
a computer thing?
Yep.
Why did they need to shut down for 11 days? Why did they need to shut the post office and go through the whole thing?
It's weird.
As if it's straight out of a disaster movie. Were they worried that the guy sent a file through, or like a SD
or maybe
card
he saw
mail?
something. Maybe he saw something and they had to destroy it. And then if you remember, that other huge observatory was like hit with a terrible storm, supposedly. The dish broke. I forgot the name of that dish. It was the big one.
The one in China? One in China?
I'm
Brazil?
a bunch. Yeah, Brazil, that one. But a bunch of them broke down. It was the weirdest thing all of a sudden. And then it was like, then the Hubble, remember? It was like one after the other. It was like, what the heck is going on in space? So you think...
Jacob,
yeah.
you know how they say, so right around the same time that scientists were saying, we could nuke Mars to try to terraform it. And
right.
This is like when all of that was going down. You have amateur astronomers catching this crazy blue aura that was way brighter than what naturally happens there.
Right.
At the North Pole of Mars.
Uh-huh.
And you have, if you have Elon Musk launching one after another, and you have all these top secret payloads. Do you ever wonder if they're already, setting things up somewhere else and they're getting ready to try to leave?
I do. Let's remind everybody that the bear sheet, I like saying bear sheet, the mission from Israel went to that crashed into the moon. It had like all of humankind's history, and like it had like a lifeboat type of information attached to it. And then they sent up the tardigrades. This is something that's been going on for a reason. It's weird. The DART mission was formed right after that. It was very quick. We're gonna bounce things off of the asteroid. Yeah, it's freaky. Freaky.
Oh, and did you see that Putin has a plan that leaked out that's called Noah's Ark?
I
mean,
did.
This is straight out of a disaster movie.
I
did. It sounds crazy.
Yeah, and Elon's going to fly 1 million people to off planet too. He's going to do that. Remember, he said he was going to do that.
They're putting DNA samples on the moon.
Weird.
They're burying Sweden's putting their navy underground. Like
you all think there's something right. Sus. You got to say in the live chat, and you got to leave us a comment, and you got to let us know if you think that this is sus. I think it's sus. Listen, I'm going to go. My voice is shot. I love you, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you, Jacob. And you can call me anytime.
Of course. And anything you want to tell people before you go?
Oh no, just have a blessed day, and yeah, if Zuckerberg's doing it, something's wrong.
Oh, that's true. And Zuckerberg's looking very cool. He's looking like a college guy now. All of a sudden, it's like they're trying to make him like he's a new. They're like remaking him. He's no longer Data from Star Trek. Now he's like Biff.
Oh, I thought that was a fake photo. Is that real?
That's real. That's real.
Oh, weird. All right.
Funny,
well, people said it was a different nose, like they cloned him or something.
Yeah, no. He's just trying to look, because he's been working out, doing the ninja training. Him and Elon, they're going to battle at the Coliseum. All the distractions, all the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right, brother. I love you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, Jacob.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
You all should really check out his channel. He does. I mean, they're just like on point. He's so good with all the stuff. It's Adam Marfugel TV and Adam and Dex Marfugel TV and Marfugel News, if you know. All right, listen, I'm going to go. Before I go, Truly Free. This is like, you all are using this stuff. I see their ads everywhere. I feel like this company's taken off. This is my sponsor. And I really think that you should get some free dishwasher soap. Who wants some free 50, I think it's like, 30 loads? 30 days or something. They're giving like free dishwasher stuff. You could try it out. It's like a trial. You claim 50 free loads. That's a lot. If you do your dishes every other day, that's like half a year. Free. So but you use code Jacob, they send me some money. I get money from this. This is a way that you can support the channel as well. Also a way to get free product and try something new and not wash the stuff that you drink and you eat. And stuff that has a bunch of forever chemicals. Like there's a lawsuit right now with Logan Paul and Prime. I don't know if you heard about that. All the stuff that is like super expensive and super popular, it turns out it's like really bad for you. Truly Free. They're a wonderful company. Steven is a man of God, loves this channel, loves all of you, is a fellow Israelite, calls himself that. And he went, said, tell him about this. You all did the, I guess it was what was the last one? Something. It was like laundry detergent or something. You all like really took advantage, which is good. Good for you. Now do the dish soap. Do the dish soap too. Go to trulyfreehome.com. Actually, don't even do that. Go to the description of the video. Click more. Go into, there's a bunch of links and you'll see it. You click it. Use code Jacob. You're going to get them. They're going to send it to you. All right. I love you all. Anything else you need, it's in the description of the video. If I missed any super chats, I apologize. Email me. And do me a favor. We share the video around. Will you tell people about this? We had a cool special guest, Marf TV. Look, he's calling into my show. We must be doing something, right? Okay. I love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Don't forget to subscribe.